I'd like to introduce Emily Brackett, today's presenter. Emily is the founder of Branding Compass and the president of Visible Logic. Visible Logic is an award-winning branding firm that provides brand strategy, naming, logo design, website design, and content marketing services to both startups and established organizations. After running her branding firm for more than 15 years, she created Branding Compass, a web-based software that gives automated, expert branding advice. Branding Compass will help you quickly discover the best colors, fonts, visuals, and words for your branding and marketing. And now, here's Emily.
Hi, everyone. This is Emily Brackett. Hello, and welcome to New Year, New Brand. First of all, I want to congratulate you on starting a new business. You're here on this webinar today because you have recently started a new business or are thinking about starting a new business and want to learn about how to build a successful brand for that business. I started my design firm in 2001, and I love being a business owner. I welcome you to the world of business ownership. I have run Visible Logic, my branding firm, for more than 17 years, where we work from many different types of small businesses, from small consultancies to VC-backed startups. But I also know firsthand about having a new business since last year I launched my own startup, Branding Compass. So I understand what goes into building a brand for a new business from both sides. If you're like most entrepreneurs, you optimistically think about all the good opportunities that will come to you and envision yourself as a successful business owner. I'm sure you have fears as well, but entrepreneurs are notoriously optimistic. So I know you are thinking about the wealth, freedom, and feeling of accomplishment that is available to you when you start your own business. For some of you, launching your business may be as simple as taking on some freelance projects. Others of you may have to build out a product or a physical space to get up and running. But I guess that whatever you're doing, you have a vision in your mind of what branding feels like for a successful business in the industry you're involved in. It may be having a clever logo, having a professional website, having beautiful packaging, or having an inspiring physical space. Take a moment and think about what that vision feels like to you. For a consultant, it may be walking into a networking event and people know you. They're impressed with your expertise. You hand them a business card and set up a meeting. For those of you who have an online business, or if your business will rely on your website as a key marketing tool, which is most of you, you imagine prospects coming to your website, understanding the value and benefits of what you offer, having them trust and be ready to buy from you. If you're launching a physical product or retail business, you probably have envisioned, at least vaguely, a sense of the atmosphere, personality, or feeling you want people to experience from you. The challenge for many of us is this vision in our head is very ephemeral. It's difficult to turn into something concrete. You struggle to bring your brand into concrete form. I believe that the problem is that you do not know how to communicate what your brand represents. You cannot clearly describe your vision, and you do not have the vocabulary to translate those ideas into the language of branding. What I want you to walk away with today is a plan for clarifying that vision and being able to communicate it to others. You'll learn to take those vague visions in your head and turn them into the foundation for your brand. Now, when you look at the most beautiful, most impactful brands out there, they were usually created by professional designers. And if you're going to hire a top-notch branding firm, some of this work can be done by them. But even if you're going that route, what you learn today will help you to work more quickly and effectively with them. But I bet that many of you have limited budgets. You're relying on do-it-yourself solutions and very affordable options. When you go this route, you absolutely must have clarity about what your brand stands for to be able to translate that into a successful asset for your business. So first, a reminder about why a strong brand is important. A strong brand is a business that is recognizable, feels professional, and it allows you to charge higher prices. You probably have all seen this, whether it's choosing Coke over RC or a BMW over a Hyundai. The well-known, recognizable, trusted brands are able to charge a premium for their products or services. It then attracts better clients. As a small business owner, this is probably more of a benefit. You're going to get real good customers who are really ready to pay the premium and work with the best. It increases the likelihood of a customer referring business to you. And most of all, if you have a clear understanding of your value, how to talk about it, and the visual styles to reinforce that, you'll be able to do all your marketing more efficiently. And eventually, when you get to that point, if you do of hiring employees, professional brands will attract higher quality employees. So the problem that many people make is that they start at the end. Too many new business owners make the mistake of jumping into designing their logo or website first, skipping over critical foundational steps that should precede that. Now, I know that having a logo makes you feel legitimate, and I definitely agree that having a website is an absolute business necessity. But today, I want to give you the roadmap of essential things to do before you invest in a logo or website. And I promise these won't take too long. I don't want you to get stuck. Branding can feel very amorphous and confusing, and so people just put off thinking about it. In fact, that's why I started Branding Compass. I wanted to find a way for people to make real progress on their brand in less than an hour. I will let you know about that tool at the end, and I'm going to have a special offer for Branding Compass, but don't worry, you're going to learn a lot right here on this webinar and walk away with a roadmap for how to quickly build your brand. So let's get started. So I wanted to use Chipotle as a little mini case study. I know it's a large international restaurant chain right now, but it started as a one-location taco burrito takeout place. And making the right choices for their brand along the way has supported this business growth. So the owner wanted to create unfancy Tex-Mex food. It was, walk up to the counter. You get to choose your fillings. So it actually has sort of an unfinished feel to the menu itself. And they pride themselves on starting with raw, unprocessed ingredients, unlike many other fast food style restaurants. So let's see how they pick that up in their brand. Definitely it's evident in their decor. They chose this sort of raw looking wood and corrugated metal. It doesn't have a lot of polish or finesse. That unfinished raw feel fits with their unprocessed food and the do-it-yourself nature of how you assemble, like you choose your burrito. They also reinforce this on their website with both the messaging and the visuals. You can see their homepage at the top left, and then this other page that kind of highlights their core values. It's a process, never process. They're showing the raw food involved. So to create an effective brand, you want the benefits of what you offer to be immediately clear and appealing. A way to start this is to list the benefits of your features and services and translating them into adjectives or metaphors. So what do you offer? How is it better? Why should somebody care? So you're going to take those features and especially turning them into benefits, and then think about the adjectives or metaphors that convey that same idea. And we can see how that works with Chipotle. So the owner knew he wanted a new take on Tex-Mex. He wanted affordable, quick food, choose your own filling, start with fresh ingredients. And some adjectives that align with each of those is, first of all, it was When he chose the name Chipotle, this was, 10, 15 years ago, that type of pepper was not commonly known as it is today, so it seemed kind of distinctive. Yet the decor, as we talked about, is plain and simple, unfinished, do it yourself, raw, unprocessed. Those are all themes that became part of their visual brand. And let's just take a look at this other example, which are two consumer packaged brands. The one on the left is body wash and household cleaners, and the one on the right is like a body products and makeup brand. So they're both in the same general category, although it's not the same exact product. And I think you can see when I look at the left, I see clean, white. So first of all, I feel like this is going to clean well. It has very simple style to the design, which makes me start thinking it's going to have simple ingredients, not like hard to read chemicals. It has these hand-drawn illustrative effects, which makes me think there's like a human behind this brand who therefore would care about me, care about my body, care about the planet. Those are all things that reinforce what this brand is all about. On the right, they also use some hand-drawn elements, but it has a much more energetic feel. I feel like I'm going to put this on and I'm out for like a fun night. It's more raw. It is more energetic. You might say it's attracting a more youthful audience. So it has a much different feel to it. The next thing you want to think about is who is most likely to buy from you. Now, you probably have a product or service that could be bought and used by many, many different people. But I want you to think, who is most likely to buy from you right now, paying real money without hassle? Sometimes as a startup, you're going to feel a lot of pressure to take on projects or clients, etc., that is not in, that's not really how the product is formulated, or that's not really what I wanted to offer. But think about who is ready to buy from you right now, offering the exact product and service that you really want to be selling. And what I want you to do is think about who these people tend to be as a group. This is who your ideal customer is. On the one hand, you want to think about the demographic information. So that is things that can be really, you can quantify it easily, like age and gender. If you have a retail or restaurant, certainly their location is critical to you. If you have a B2B product, their job title or type of company or industry they're in is very important. This is, looking at who is most likely to buy on all these demographics. But equally important is psychographic details. These are the interests and hobbies, the opinions, personality, lifestyle, maybe even political affiliation that you find go hand in hand with people most likely to buy from you. And you want to think about all of that. And I have a great example here. So I have here on the screen 4, granola bar energy bars. And when you look at what these all are, there's a lot of similarity, right, in terms of the types of ingredients, like they're on-the-go snacks, etc. But I think we can see clearly how they've created a design that attracts different audiences. So in the top left, we have Nature's Valley. They are kind of the original granola bar. They wanted to look all natural. They kind of maintain that feeling of long-time person in the field. So they're pretty straightforward. They are, attractive to a large group of people, but maybe the older generation who first knew of them, when they came out 30 years ago. On the top right, you have the Hammer Bar. When I see that, I immediately start thinking of either the weightlifter at the gym or the high-performance triathlete. These are athletes who are going to use this for fuel. That's who they're going after. Then in the bottom left, you have the Cliff Kid Z-Bar. And so realistically, is a Z-Bar that different than a regular Cliff Bar? Probably not. Like, the ingredients are very similar. Maybe the portion size is slightly smaller, the flavor profile is slightly different, but they have decided that they can show packaging and come up with a name that is going to be appealing to kids and their parents to buy. And you can really see how they've honed in on that here. And then let's look at the fourth bar. When I see the fourth bar, I see something much different. They call it a clean energy bar, if you can't read that. So I'm thinking that focus is maybe on more pure, raw, high-quality ingredients. I expect to pay more for that. When I think about the shoppers that would buy these, Nature Valley is going to be at your regular grocery store. The Cliff Bar is as well, but it's going to be focused on parents with kids at the grocery store. The Hammer Bar, certainly you might buy it at a grocery store, but it might also be available at like GNC or at a health club. And I think of this clean energy bar being more likely found at a Whole Foods, a local natural food store, maybe at a spa, that kind of thing. It's just attracting a different clientele. So you've got to focus, when you create your design and your branding, the most important thing is to focus on the concept first and not get too hung up on the design. Realistically, as a startup, your budget for designers is limited. But if you have a strong concept, that can continue to be updated and refined. You always want to reinforce your benefits visually to attract your ideal customer. And remember, it's your ideal customer, not you. It's a very common mistake for new business owners to think about, well, what would I like? What styles do I like? And it may be that your ideal customer matches your demographics and psychographics, but it may not. And you always want to keep putting yourself in your shoes of your ideal customer. And these are three important things. Every good branding decision should support what you offer. You know, the actual features of the service or product that you sell should, match with your branding. It should reinforce your benefits, and it should definitely never contradict your benefits. And it should attract your ideal customer. These can be summarized in a unique value proposition. Now, I'm not going to go through how to create a whole unique value proposition here on the call, but these are the three elements that go into it. I am going to give you some highlights on how to do that. But this is a great place to start with these. If you're always checking these three boxes, you're in good shape. So people always want me to, they want to know, like, what are the most important things that they can do if you have a limited time, a limited budget? What should you focus on to get right? What are the most important elements of your brand? And I've got the top three. So the first one is the value proposition, which I hinted at just before. The first thing is to be really clear about the value you bring to clients. You may want to consider writing a unique value proposition. We're not going to get into that complete process in this brief webinar, but here are some of the things you need to know. You need to be able to clearly write or say what you do. It should the benefits of what you do need to be understandable. It's best if they have an emotional connection, right? Like, this feels easy. This is taking care of something I don't want to do. This is saving me time. This is making me feel safe and secure, that kind of thing. It should be focused on who is your ideal customer, and it should be succinct and focused. So you might have heard of having an elevator speech, for example. It's very similar to that. If somebody were to ask you right now, what do you do and who do you do it for and why does it matter? You should be able to say that in less than a minute. And if you can do that, you will go far with creating the branding that matches that. Secondly, The single most important brand asset to make sure you have right is your name, your business name. The right name will make all of your brand development and marketing easier. The wrong name will eventually become a ball and chain around your leg, slowing down the growth of your business. So if you have any hesitations about your name being right, now as an early stage business owner, now is the time to make that correction. And I have some tips here on how to choose a good name. So the first thing is that it should be easy to spell. And hand in hand with that is easy to pronounce. Okay, so there's a couple reasons here. You want people to easily find you in search engines. You want people, if they've seen the name of your company written somewhere, and then they've heard the name of your company, you want those to match up. They say that it takes 6 to 8 different brand touch points before somebody recognizes and trusts your brand. And if people aren't putting together what they read and what they saw, you're kind of like limiting yourself. You're going to have to do that many more additional touch points to get your recognition registering with people. Secondly, specifically, if there's something about your name that's hard to pronounce, people will be uncomfortable about making a verbal referral. People don't like to feel dumb, so people will be hesitant about making a referral if they're not sure they're pronouncing your name right. The third thing is .com domain. It's still the most common thing. People will just immediately probably try .com at the end of your name. So the best thing is if that's available. If you need to add on like a little qualifier at the end, like a good trick is like maybe Joe's Pie Bakery or Joe's Pies Portland, those kind of things that will add another word but keep it at .com, and that little extra word can also help with search engines, so that's great. Definitely don't have a different like domain name altogether between your business name and your URL. That's very confusing. People might even feel like it's like a phishing type of scam. Fourth, it should suggest what you do. So at this point, if you find yourself, telling friends, I've started this new business, what's it called? And when you tell people, you get this strange, quizzical look, it might be time to reconsider. Now, certainly a name doesn't have to be this long narrative that explains what you do, but it shouldn't confuse people or immediately set people off in the wrong direction. Those are the types of things that become just this big hurdle for you to overcome time and time again with your branding and marketing. And finally, it's really great if not only do people get it, but they get a sense of these benefits, okay, like an emotional benefit, and you definitely don't want it to conflict with any of your core brand traits. And the last little extra is potentially if it can capture search traffic, like I was telling that last thing on your domain name, adding, say, the type of business you have, so-and-so accountant, CPA, bakery, or the location, Boston, New York, etc. So, it'd be great if you could check off all 6 boxes under the best column. Sometimes you can't, but you certainly want to be avoiding anything on the right side of the screen. Okay, the third most important part of creating your brand is developing a visual style. And remember, as I said earlier, your visuals should be developed in connection as a way to reinforce the benefits that you offer and are attracting your ideal customer. And here are some must-haves for your visuals. The most important thing, and what I suggest people do, is developing a word mark by typesetting their business name. So with that, you want to choose a specific font. You're going to typeset it a certain way, caps, lowercase, bold, italic, the color. All of that is chosen. Ideally, you want to kind of convert that to a graphic element, so it's not like sending somebody a Word document with your name typeset, and then if they didn't have the font on their computer, it wouldn't display correctly. But it's really important that you have a set way of always showing your name. Secondly, color is really important to to branding. It has just a very immediate effect for people. So you could choose one or two colors from, say, your logo that you use on your website and all of your materials, like accent colors, or it could be more of choosing a family of colors, like all cool blues or warms or pastels, that kind of thing. But have like maybe two or three colors that become that anything that gets created by you always has that color palette. Thirdly, you need to start thinking about a distinct style. You can do this through photography, you can do it through imagery, through fonts. You don't need to do all three of these necessarily. And as a small business owner and a new business owner, I think it's important to choose something that you are able to create yourself. And by that, I mean you can, like right now, a mistake that I see a lot of business owners do is they go find a royalty-free stock photo and they don't have the skills to be able to manipulate it all, so they just plunk it in place so it's not distinct in style or in concept, and so that's not going to really be memorable in any way. So think about either stylizing it some way, make it black and white or sepia tone, or choosing the actual imagery to be something maybe more abstract. You might want to avoid stock photos in general and look to illustration, or maybe using a very distinct typeface, and that you always use that. So choose like one or two elements and focus on that and make that be your hook, that everything you do always has one of these things. The biggest thing, though, is you don't need a logo immediately. You can wait on that, okay? I really believe that it could come later, especially if you've created this word mark for yourself. You're all set. So, and always remember, concept first, then design. If you have all these pieces in place, you can continue to refine and upgrade your design as you get the budget to do so. And if you're looking for a affordable way to do your branding, you might want to consider Branding Compass. Branding Compass will help you generate a unique value proposition, and it will give you these recommendations on visual styles. I do recommend you consider this as a tool, because in about an hour, you can walk through an online workbook where we ask you questions about your product and service. It's going to automatically generate that unique value proposition for you, and then you'll get expert automated advice on the best font, colors, visuals, and words for your branding and marketing. And we have 3 different licenses available, and I'm going to bring up a special coupon code for you right now. So we will email this to you, but we are offering a coupon code. We have 3 different licenses to Branding Compass. We have a standard license, which gives you the auto-generated unique value proposition, and it gives you the visual colors, typefaces, and imagery. We have a pro report that includes all that, as well as your ideal customer profile, and it gives you a lot more information about voice and messaging and a product market fit check. And then our premium license, which is normally $269, we are offering for the price of the pro license, and that includes an individual consultation with me. So for $239, you get the free consultation and the more expansive report. And again, that's coupon code 2019 upgrade, but we will email that to you. So don't feel like you have to take that down right now. What I want to do is wrap this all up with a couple of examples. I know that I did say we keep this to 45 minutes, and we got a little bit of a late start. So I'm going to run through some examples, and we will have time for questions at the end. So let's look at this comparison between Dropbox and Carbonite. So like all of the things we just mentioned as the most essential things, let's start with their name. First of all, if you're not familiar with Dropbox or Carbonite, one reason I wanted to choose these is because I've mostly shown consumer brands up to this point, but this is equally important for B2B brands. Both Dropbox and Carbonite basically offer like cloud-based storage and backup of your documents and files. And there are a few differences in the way the two tools work, but really essentially they're doing very similar things. And so starting with the name, Dropbox versus Carbonite. Dropbox is two very familiar names, right? Dropbox, nothing complicated, very friendly. Carbonite sounds really like hard and secure. And you can see it in the logo, right? Like Dropbox, they reinforce that idea of it's just like drop it in the box, right? It's really easy to use, it's friendly. And Carbonite has this big green button, which I'm not even really sure what it is, but it seems like kind of like something you'd have on a big control panel. So Dropbox is focused on a lot of small business owners and now individuals who just want their files backed up in the cloud. They don't want to worry about it. They want it to be easy. This should be like hassle-free, easy to use. Carbonite is really, their focus is more on the IT professional, the person who might start, try to set up some cloud system that needs to be really secure for a company. And so they use this like steel background. I don't know how well it's coming through, these like dark colors. By contrast, Dropbox has these illustrated techniques. It just looks friendly and it's easy to use, which is their biggest core value of the benefit of their service. So the other thing is that the second example I'm going to use is that we did ask people when they signed up if they wanted to have their own branding reviewed. And so I'm going to switch here to pull up a website of an attendee here. And so the name of this, it says LaFerris Inc. And so I'm going to kind of go through the same things I did on this presentation and for Dropbox. So let's start with the name. The name is LaFerris Inc. That's not going to resonate with somebody who doesn't know the person. Now, this may be fine if it's actually named after the founder and principal of this consulting firm. Having your own name as your brand can be problematic if you wish to grow the firm. But if you're really considering this as always being a solopreneur or even just a small team and you are planning to do some public speaking and that kind of thing, then the name may not be problematic. It would actually, reinforce that personal brand. The logo is a monogram, which fits with this highly personalized brand. However, the calligraphic style is more fitting with a consumer brand. I find it very flourishing, like flourishy, I should say, and might not be the way to attract these, business consulting training clients you're after. I also am concerned about the legibility of this, like L, especially when it's small, like on a business card, it's very thin and not maybe immediately readable as an L if you were to see it without the LaFerris right next to it. One thing I did like that you're seeing on this slideshow is this dare to dream. It's going to come back again. And I feel like this is an example of I'm really getting the concept here of hope and optimism that would come from working with her. And I love that. I think that it could use some professional design finessing so that it would pull together. Like if you needed it on a business card, I think it'd be problematic. And the little bird seems a bit, childish. And you probably want something more professional going towards professional working women, for example. But this is an example of like, you could take that, you've chosen a great words, dare to dream, those are great words, and a great uplifting concept, and then you could keep continuing to refine it. And then the final comment I had about this is the colors. The color palette of browns is It's pretty unique. It's definitely, brown is a lesser used corporate color, so in that way it's memorable. I would definitely want you to confirm that these colors are attracting to your ideal client, because brown can feel kind of dull and dingy, but they also feel really warm. And but it's very much in contrast to that hopeful splash of purple in the Dare to Dream logo. So again, like those colors, I think they're memorable because they're so distinct, but you want to make sure, one, that it's reinforcing the right brand feeling and that it is appealing to your ideal client. So that pretty much wraps up the presentation, and we do have time for questions. And the way you ask questions is there's this you'll have a panel, and you can type in the questions, and then Stephanie's going to read those out, and everyone can hear the answer. So please just go ahead and type in there.
All right, so we have a couple of questions coming in. I see this one, it's a theme. A couple people have asked this in a few different ways. But Emily, can you explain to the audience how important you think it is to have your brand polished or finessed while you're also trying to generate sales or cash flow?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. Right, it's this chicken and the egg, right? You're like, I can't really generate business, which is until I have like a logo and website, you may be feeling, yet I don't want to go live with a logo and website until it's ready. So I do hope that I've started you thinking about, if you have the right fundamentals for your brand, like the concept, that you can continue to refine the actual visuals as you get the money to do so. So again, like, I do think Branding Compass is a great tool to do that, because you're going to quickly get this visual style guide, but I would encourage you to not just put it off forever, take a little bit of time, get the basics of the concept together, and then continue to think of it as evolving over time.
Great. So a couple other questions that I think follow a theme that have come in about specific tools or templates within tools to create sort of a DIY marketing approach. So do you have a specific reaction or opinion to tools and templates, or how do you think about that?
Sure, yeah. So you're a startup, you probably are trying to, keep an eye on your costs, which means you're looking for do-it-yourself tools. So often you're either presented with a blank canvas, like if you use some of those tools like Squarespace or Wix, or even like to do your email marketing like MailChimp, Constant Contact, you usually have kind of two options, like start with a blank slate or start with a template. So what I think is the first thing before you make that decision is to, like I said, set up that visual style. Like, you should have, what's most important is like, hey, I always use this font, I always use these colors. This is the overarching like theme and visualization I want for my brand. Because when you have that, then you can start recognizing a template that might be workable in and of itself. And if not, you can go from scratch a lot more easily. So I don't think there's necessarily like one tool that's better than another. It's all going into it using like instead of just like letting the tool direct you where it wants you to go, or even again, like some of them ask you those questions, like, which of these do you like? It's not what you like, it's what's going to attract your ideal customer and what's going to reinforce what the benefits of your brand are.
All right, and then we also have some individual questions. So some attendees have asked some specific questions about their own sites, and I think the best option for that is that great Branding Compass promotional offer that you've got, where you get a consultation as part of the tool. But we will also follow up with an email after the webinar, both with this recording, and we can follow up with any individual questions. And I think, Emily, you have your contact information up here too as well.
Yeah, I could go back to that contact information, and but yeah, we will email the recording of this slide and, of this whole webinar, and you can reach out at visiblelogic.com or brandingcompass.com, and we'd be happy to help you out. So you will get an email, I think, tomorrow with the recording, and we'll reiterate that coupon code, which is 2019 upgrade, all capital letters. If you do want to do that right now, it's ready to go, but we will email it so you get that typed in correctly. It's 2019 upgrade. You get asked for the coupon code very far into the process with Branding Compass, but that will, again, for $239, you'll get the premium license. And that concludes our webinar. So thank you very much for joining me, and I hope this has been helpful. Thank you very much.